Hi, good evening, everybody. So, with a bit of a mishap there. We've mistakenly ended the show, and we're just trying to get something back live. So we've just started a new live one now in the hope that it'll wake you all up, everyone who was there. And we're just starting to see one or two people just dropping into the chat now. Just bear with us while we just get everyone back. And we'll be back as soon as we can. Just one moment, please. Here we go. We've got people joining the show again now. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get everyone back in as quick as possible. This is obviously first time we've ever done a live show without Mick, and he came in. It was going so well, and then he's killed us and left us, and now he's panicking, and he's jumped out of bed, and he's hiding in the background in his studio trying to get us live again. So yeah, let's see if we can get us all going, get everybody back in. We had 86 people. You're all joining us one at a time. Thank you for finding us. It was Blame Mick, Jarvis. Here he comes. Jarvis is joining us back again. Jarvis, I've just been waffling on. Here you go. Here you go. Fantastic, Jarvis. That's two of us. Mick's hiding in the background. I feel like showing him up in his I'm asleep mode, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to let him hide in the background. But yeah, we are trying to get the show back going again, get our guests back on the show, get Pappi and Nick back on the show. Are we able to share the link? Has anybody got the link that we're able to share? Can somebody put it in the private chat if we've got it, and I can get it over to Nick and Pappi? Can somebody send Pappi the link?
I sent Pappi the link as we speak, and I don't have Nick, so you have to send it to her.
Put it in the yeah, brilliant, thank you. How can I get that to Nick? Oh, try again.
Yeah, I can just talk to the VAR room as we speak.
Yeah, just talk to people. We are live, so we're just having a few technical difficulties. Oh, she's back. Fantastic, Nick. Well done.
Is looking
at Pappi back now. Well, that was new, wasn't it, Nick? We are live, so please do not swear.
Fancy just kicking me out.
I tell you what, Mick was doing fantastic with his little wonderful updates on Kane. We're down to 13 viewers from the 86 we were up to, so we're just giving you all guys a chance to get back in, see that we've recreated the show after it went nosediving for our first ever one. Got to say, just because me and Jarvis were in charge doesn't mean it was our fault. It was Mick came and hijacked us. We can see him laughing in the background, and we're not going to show him up, but he was in a state of panic and quickly recreated a new show for us to go live again. So we're down to 15 from 86 viewers. There was someone just saying that
we are just a few and we can talk like real talk.
Yeah, we can still talk in the hope that people will pick up again and keep going. So Red J saying Kane deal is done. Going to Bayern, is that new? Is that something you've read today? Is it something you've heard? Can somebody elaborate on that? Is there anything more that you know about it? Can you just give us information? It's something that's gone down tonight while we've been there. The Kane deal is close to Crispy's Pattenberg now reporting the Kane deal is close to being done. I'm assuming this is to Bayern Munich. And not to anywhere else. Thanks for sharing that, Chris. If anyone gets any more news on that, please let us know and we will break the news as it comes in. Big up Sky Sports are reporting Kane increasingly likely to stay at Spurs despite Bayern agreeing a deal with Spurs. So we've got all various levels of rumours hitting us at the moment. Thanks for sharing that, David Meme, saying that the only thing I would say is that we don't really trust Sky Sports because they don't often get much right. On Twitter now, Phil, thank you. Although Twitter doesn't exist anymore, so it's on X. But, call it what you wish. Nine to Bayern, not 9 to Bayern. Yeah, okay. So thanks for that, Stephanie. Not quite sure what's going on. Pappy's half in the background.
9 means no in German.
It does, no 9, to Bayern.
So she's saying no to Bayern, not 9 to Bayern yet.
Not 9 to Bayern.
9.
Sounds like it was 9. Nothing from Christian 𝒊𝒔𝒉, who's the main reporter. This is live. This is a new Pappi. Welcome back.
Yes.
Mick sabotaged us and he's recreated us, seeing how quick we can get back and running again. I think it was a bit of a challenge
Mick,
for us.
This is for you.
Go to bed. Get some sleep. He's got us up live again, so we're back up to 24 viewers. So hopefully we'll get it back up. So we've got comments on Kane. People are sharing different bits of information. Good shout, John Johnson. Nothing from Christian 𝒊𝒔𝒉 just yet. Schatterberg saying Plettenberg is obsessed with anything Germany, so irritating. He thinks that Kane's dying to come to Bayern. Bayern Kane is not keen on Germany. That's what we're hearing. So according to Dutch football news just now, no other news reported outlet just yet though. So yeah, we'll keep our eye on that. If anything does break while we're live, we'll bring that to you as and when. Lee Park is asking, why did the live stop? Good night, Mick. Sleep well. We can see him in the background. Oh, everyone, shh, we're not allowed to. I've got to be quiet. I think I'm making too much noise. I don't quite understand what that means. No, he's yeah. Why did the live stop? It stopped because we hit the wrong button, but we're back. And we're back and we're live and we're back up to 30 viewers. It's good to have you all back. What we were about to say before we got cut dead was welcome to the show, Nick. Yay. Man, you, Nick. Thank you for joining us. Before you were waiting patiently in the background, and then we were like, and we will welcome Nick onto the show, and then you disappeared, and we all disappeared, and it was like, oh, we've ended. This is first shape. This is going to be interesting.
It was the excitement. That's what I'm going to say, Phil. It was the excitement of having me on.
Press the wrong button, yeah. It's Nick. So, Nick, how was your evening before you got rudely kicked out?
It was good. It was good. I was listening in the background for about 10 minutes, waiting to come in.
We did not. I do apologise. So I've got
on this
video. I've got a visual of 4 icons, not as in living icons, but screen icons, and you were just below it.
All right.
And then I just saw something pop up, and I thought, there she is. Welcome. Sorry.
It's all right. I was just listening.
We weren't talking about you.
Listening to conversations about Kane.
It was it's interesting.
Did you have him or not? I mean,
what do you think? Would you have Kane as part of the team for 85 million?
Listen, we paid more than that for Anthony, and we've got a player in Kane who is Premier League proven, can handle the pace, 30 plus goals a season. With our midfield delivering to him, I have no doubt that he would get the same amount of goals. And actually, Kane, he's not just a goal poacher. He will get involved in play. He'll come further back up the field. He creates chances. He's not selfish with the ball, so he will play it to other players as well. It's a no-brainer for me. We're not going to get him on a free. There's no way that we're going to get him on a free. No. So we either get him now for the 85, potentially January. But, you know, sometimes the season's over by January, February. So you want him in at the start, really. And I was quite confident that we might get him. And then I heard this morning that terms had been agreed with Bayern, and I thought, all right, okay. You know, they've past 10 years they've won the Bundesliga. It's a no-brainer for him to get trophies. But then I read somewhere else that he's not keen, and I was like, well, do we want somebody with that kind of? I wonder what his mentality is. Why he wouldn't want to go to a team that potentially could win trophies. Why is he staying at Spurs? Is it because he wants to get the accolades at Spurs, you know, top goal scorer and all that, or does he think that he's going to fail somewhere else? I don't understand it personally.
I think what we were just saying, Nick, I don't know if you caught all of it or not, but I think what we're saying is that generally we feel that, you know, obviously he is of the older age of his career, at the end of his career. His whole family's here, settled here. And to up and take his whole family with him for what potentially could be a few years. It's a big move, isn't it?
It is.
And as you say, he has got that accolade that he's still fighting for. He's worked his whole career in a very difficult situation at Spurs where he's stuck by them, but he just feels that when they came closest to having a chance at winning something, they still couldn't quite get there then.
No.
So, and that was the closest they ever come. And he's probably seeing other teams strengthening and getting better and playing better football. I mean, we absolutely demolished Spurs last season.
Yeah.
And it was a time where they had a chance to still get something out of the season. And, you know, you mentioned that Kane came a lot deeper. You know, it can come a lot deeper, but we saw a lot of that last season, and we saw Son and 𝑴𝒊𝒄𝒌 going down the right wing, you know, and that, so they were playing down the wings. Kane was coming deeper, playing the ball out to them. So, but I think that what we were saying at the top of the show before you were waiting in the background, was that what we're looking for in another striker, whoever that might be, is someone who is going to sit in the box and get those poaching goals. And be willing to score from outside the box as well. Yeah. But what we're creating loads of opportunities and still not taking even pre-season. So John Johnson saying Kane wanted to go to City last year where he would have won trophies. But obviously they had the Haaland offer available, and they took that, knowing that it was a longer. I mean, let's be honest, no one can say that Haaland's failed, because already he's been worth the money. We know that. There's no doubt in that whatsoever. Everybody wanted him. And
which money was he worth, Phil? The money that they say they paid for him, or the money that they pretend, you know, they actually paid for him?
Well, I mean, the only thing I would say is, whilst that I completely agree about the fact of the 115 breaches and stuff, the actual value that they paid for him to buy, yeah. But what did they actually pay behind the scenes as well to get him in through the door?
Yeah.
We'll never know that, unfortunately.
No.
Kane could raise the bar that Ten Hag talks about, absolutely. I think, you know, we spoke before pre-season started about who we would like as our key signings. A lot of them were talking about Osimhen. And then, you know, they got really excited when they saw the fact that, everybody wants him. Let's put a big price tag on him, 140 million. Everybody went, see ya. I'm not paying that. And I think it's got a bit sensible. You know, there's in the past there's been room. You know, the minute you hear of like an Mbappe, a Neymar, Osimhen, Kane, all up for sale, everyone would clamour at them, and you're not seeing that anymore, because people are realising that these prices are just getting stupid. And what we need is someone who'll play for the club. So if Kane wants to come to us to play for us for the shirt and not for money, obviously he's going to get paid, but not for a mega payout. Yeah. Then let's go for it. Absolutely, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
I'm all for it. So my banners, I still have got my banners. So I'm going to try and go get the show back on target of the questions we were going to go through. We've discussed, so I'm going to just throw this one out there. It is only the second one, but we'll probably just move on a little bit while we lost a little bit of time. We've only been live for 13 minutes. It's actually an hour we've been live, minus about 7 minutes in between while we got us back up and running. So season expectations. So I'll start on my right. I don't know if that looks right. It might be on my left when we go live. I don't know. But when we that side, I'll go to you, Jarvis. What do you think? What is your expectation? So with the team that we've got at the moment, let's not put Kane in the equation yet. Let's just say maybe Amrabat, and then that's the end of the transfers. What do you think? What's your expectations?
If Maguire goes, we will have a new centre back.
I suspect.
Yeah. And as it seems now, because of Ten Hag's and Matt Hargreaves' transfer plan, we get players who wants to come to United. And I read today that Pavard really wanted to come to United, and he was set to come. And he has 1 year left on his contract with Bayern, and they don't want to sign a new one. So I suspect that we will get Pavard from Bayern Munich as the centre back option.
Is that real though, or is it because I read as well that his agent had been putting a lot of stuff out to make it was his agent that was putting all the information out about him wanting to join us?
Yeah, when it comes to real, it's hard to say when it comes to football transfers. But I read it. Fabrizio Romano, he is probably one of the most reliable. Yeah. He quoted that. So that's what I'm quoting. So
going off,
but, okay, let's say we have a new center back. Who knows if it's Pavard or one of the other twos? But one center back and Amrabat. I think we have a good squad. I think we will be able to compete. But I don't trust this group of players. I know what they can do, even though we have sold Maguire and Fred, and McTominay is still here. We lost 7-0 against Liverpool, 6-3 against Manchester City. I don't expect us to win the league this season. I have to be realistic. And I'm not going to be totally PTSD, but I'm trying to keep the expectations a little bit down. I hope we will compete. For us to get fourth, maybe third place, that will be a good season for me. And I hope we can go deep into the Champions League and try to compete against Real Madrid and the biggest teams. But I expect us to be a little bit up and a little bit down. On our best, we can beat everyone, but we can also lose against everyone.
So you're saying top 4 and no trophies?
Well, it's tough, it's margins, but I think Ten Hag will do whatever he can to win. That's his mentality. He will try this season to avenge Man United and City's treble and try to win everything. He will try to win the quadruple. That's Ten Hag's mindset. But with the group of players we still have, it takes time to build the squad, and we are at stage 2. But I think we have to be at stage 3 or maybe 4 to be at that level. So. I lived a long time and I seen this United team, especially the last 18 years. So the PTSD maybe is talking, but I expect top 4 and I hope we will compete for a couple of cups.
Okay. I go to you, Pappi, just because I'm kind of working my way back around the screen to the next person. So do you think that would you be happy with 4th? When you think, we've spent this money, everyone's saying, we're fantastic, this new team, and got the new players in, and we're cooking now. Would you be happy with 4th?
Absolutely not. I think this season in particular, it's going to be a season where the title is there for the taking, just because I have this strange feeling that Man City is going to be going through a little bit of a rebuild, and they're going to start slow, and it's and then there's also this other statistic too that I think, like, if you win the Community Shield, your chances of winning the Premier League like almost 1 in 9 or 10, so there's also that. So given those 2 events, like, I feel like something just feels like 3rd position or 2nd position is there for the taking for Man United. And if Amrabat is there, we have enough tools to be able to at least mount a title challenge for a couple of weeks, and then whoever is going to win will probably win. But I'm feeling like 2nd is there for the taking for Man United, and Ten Hag has all the tools to do that.
Okay, Nick, I'm going to move to you. I want to move specifically on Champions League. How far do you think we'll go in the Champions League this season? Loaded question. Welcome to the show.
I mean, I'd like to think that we'd get to the quarters. I'd like to think that. But I just think we're on this rebuild, and there's so much that we want. There's so many expectations with the players that we've signed, the squad that we've got. I actually think that we've got a decent squad. And on the day, they can beat anybody. And it's proven that. With some of the games we played last season, we convincingly beat Barcelona. There's for me, it comes down to passion and it comes down to belief. And I'm still not sure that Ten Hag has instilled the belief to these players that they can actually win, they can actually compete for the top slot. I'd rather win the Premier League than the Champions League, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's anything can happen in knockout tournaments.
Yeah.
It's on the day, whether the decisions go for you. what the pitch is like, what the weather's like. There's so many different variables, but over that longer period with the Premier League, it's about being consistent. And you can have an off day, but actually it's about that consistency and the level that you're playing at. And sometimes the results will go against you anyway, regardless of how well you play. Sometimes it's a lucky goal. So for me, the Premier League is much, for me, tells me where we are as a team, more winning the Premier League than it does winning the Champions League, if I'm being completely honest. So I would sacrifice the Champions League for the Premier League title, because I think that for me just tells me that we're moving in the right direction. Do I think that we'll win the Premier League? No, I don't. I'd like to think that we're challenging for it, and I'd like to think that it comes down to a really close second.
Yeah.
Last season, I never really felt that we were ever going to challenge for it. It never really felt that we were going to get there. But I'd like to see it a little bit closer this season, if I'm being honest. And the expectation is that we get close to it. I don't think we'll win it, but there's an expectation that we're trying and we're being consistent across the whole of the season.
Yeah.
It's a long-winded answer, wasn't it, Phil? Bet you like, fucking hell, I wish I never asked her now.
No, it's good. That's what we want. We want conversation. We want explanation. We want to go, yeah, we could finish fourth, you know. It's good to give you reasoning behind it.
Phil, if we're still around number third or something by Christmas, you know, like, or second by Christmas, I think we you know, it's just a matter of just making sure we get to January, like within reaching distance of first, and then we can even, you know, like, then I think like we can talk about, like, you know, if we're really challenging or not challenging after like seeing a few games and how we do up until December. That's you know, that will tell us where we are.
I'm going to ask everybody in the VAR room, and I'm going to ask you guys as well. Sorry, there we go. Christian Falk just tweeted, Kane agreement is imminent. So if Christian Falk has announced it, that's pretty much sounds like it's done then. Because he's
agreement
really close
to where?
to where? If Christian Falk's announced it, it'll be to do with Bayern, won't it? Yeah, pretty certain that's that one done and dusted. So we've just waited 20 minutes to show. We can get that back. Here's what we could have won. Buddy special prize. Moving on. We don't need Kane. So trust the process. Yeah, good time to shout that one out. Thanks, Red J. So let me ask the panel. Let me ask the VAR room. Who do you think will be just literally in the VAR room? Just write down your top four for the season, and we'll click through some in a little bit. We'll keep your eye on those. We'll star some of them out, and we'll see who you think just the top four will be. No explanation, just 1, 2, 3, 4. Who you think will finish top four, and then we'll come back to that in a short while. Season expectations. I mean, obviously we've spoke about the Champions League, and I mean, I understand what you're saying, Jarvis, about kind of it's transitioning and stuff, but I just feel that we need to make sure that we are improving on last year. I
get what you're saying, Phil. You know, I totally agree. You know, I want us to be
progressing.
Progressing and competing for the title, and I think we will be in the race this year better than last year, because it ended basically after the two first games last year. So this year we have to compete, and I think we will compete. But you know, when it comes to February, we have Champions League playoffs, there's games, and there's FA Cup and League Cup. You know, we play every 3 days. Do we have the squad this season? Also, you got to remember that we have to be, there will be more added time every game, so they will play almost 10 to 15 minutes more every game, and it will wear down the players, and we will see a lot of injuries, and we got to rely on players, and also one thing, Rashford and Bruno, they played a lot of games last season. They played almost 6,000 minutes, both of them. So we will maybe see a reaction. We have seen it with Liverpool when Mane and Salah, they couldn't perform the season after because they play so many minutes, and this year will be even more. So I want to be optimistic, but we got to be realistic too. And our squad isn't deep enough to compete for the title as I see it, because we will fall behind when we come to the latter stages of the season. But that's just the way it is. But it's a good learning process, and it's a process. So for me, I will give it 1 year or 2 years before we're at the point we want to be.
I think I mean, obviously, Lee's mentioned the fact that we play on Wednesday will help a lot. The guys completely agree. You know, not playing that Thursday game, it is a bit too close to the weekend, and we saw the impact of that. The winter break, is that all going to be there again? Is that just a one-off last season? It's not happening again this year, is it?
It was only for the World Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not like something that's in bed, because when you think last season after the World Cup, I mean, obviously we had a lot of players in the World Cup, which normally that's great. We've got all United players in there, but actually the impact on that was just horrific for us. We were doing okay, and then we started to get a few injuries, and we were getting fatigue, and we did all right in the World Cup as well. But then when we came back, the back-to-back games that we had, because we were in competitions, was just absolutely ridiculous. I think from December to almost the end of March, I think we had a game every 3 days. So there's no chance to build your team. There's no chance to practice. There's no chance to relax. No chance to rest your body. No chance to put new tactics in place. Everyone says Ten Hag's cooking. I really think he is. I think he's got a chance to put something together this season, and that's why I'm a bit more optimistic about what we can potentially do this season. I understand what you're saying about Rashford and that being burnt out, but hopefully, we've seen one of the things that we're actually waxing lyrical about is the fact the options that we do have is Garnacho, Sancho, Antony, Pellistri, Ahmad when he's back. They're the wingers that you can play left or right in most cases. We've even seen Antony tried on the left in pre-season a little bit. So we know that Ten Hag's trying to see what works best. And we've seen Sancho playing up front through the middle. We've seen Rashford playing on the left, Rashford up front. So what we're actually getting is we're giving ourselves lots of options where hopefully we won't be as tired, and we've still got two strong options in each position, sort of thing. So yeah, I would like to see either progression or at least the same as what we did last season. We'll let's have a quick look at the top fours that anybody's been shouting out. So we've had a few coming in. Let me just quickly pick through these. So I think they're all very interesting, actually. They're all quite similar. Very special one from Mick, which we'll share. Interesting. Okay, nice one. I'm just clicking through these because it's going to be interesting. Right, they'll go with those ones that we've just started on there, right? So first of all, I've just got to get this confession out. Mick is true, is right. One back at me, he's absolutely correct. He was in Thailand. I came on the show. I was on my phone and I pressed exit, and I've never done it before, and I didn't realize I'd killed the whole show. And the show ran for another 35-40 minutes without anybody realizing that I'd killed the show. So apparently it was a really good show, but nobody got to see it. So
oh my goodness,
two guys chatting away.
I was part of this show. I was part of this show. I was part of all 3 shows that have been ended.
You're the common denominator, then it's your
fault. and Steph saying, yeah, absolutely, it's the blame game. So back to the top 4. So Neil Driscoll saying City, Arsenal, United, Liverpool. I don't think we've got time to write all these down because we're 30 minutes into the show of our second show of the night already. City, Arsenal, United, Liverpool. John Johnson saying City, United, Arsenal, Liverpool. So the same 4, but United above Arsenal. And then Red J saying City, Arsenal, Liverpool, United, top 4 again. So the same 4. Another order. Lees Olsen is saying City, United, Arsenal, Liverpool. Same 4 again. really interesting. Everyone's got City for the title. Is it because of Haaland? Is that the difference that everyone's believing in? City, United, Arsenal, Liverpool. Mick Ruby's got United. Who's let him in the room? Who's let him in? Steph Griffiths has got United, City, Arsenal, Brighton.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Come on, Steph. I love that. I love the positivity.
Nice little twist there made us all just go, oh, very good. Good reaction. And I don't know whether the reaction was the fact that United were going to beat City or the fact that Brighton were in 4th place.
Definitely Brian.
It's funny how nobody's mentioned Chelsea. Milos
Newcastle.
Even I can translate this one. United, Arsenal, City, Liverpool. So yeah, thank you for all those. Anybody else? Mick is convinced that United are going to win the league. Thank you for the super chat, Mick. I'm sure that goes straight back into your account, but it's really good. So as long as you're not claiming tax on that. United, you really believe United will win the league? That's fantastic. Is it going to happen? Is it really going to happen? Jonathan Bull saying City, Liverpool, United, Arsenal. So everyone seems to have the same top 4. It really is interesting the way people are thinking.
There's always a surprise every season. There's a surprise.
Yeah, and I like Steph's shout for Brighton. I've got a question. Newcastle.
Yeah,
that's my question. What do you think?
Exciting.
Where do you think Newcastle will finish? Right on cue. Thank you, Yala. City, Newcastle, Liverpool, United, Arsenal. Well, thank you, Yala, but you can't count. We said top 4.
Denied.
Top 4. Are you saying United Arsenal are going to be on the same point, same goal difference, same home and away record, and it's going to be a joint 4th? We'll give you that one, Yala.
Well, technically, though, Yala, it means like that all 5 will be going to the Champions League because, probably Arsenal has a good, European heritage, so.
So interesting. Spurs not mentioned. Wonder why? Absolutely. Will they play differently without Kane? Will they play a different style of football? Will they be improved under him? Jarvis is waving away. I don't think he's waving.
I have an outsider this season. Aston Villa. Unai Emery is doing bits. They have signed really good players, and that coach, they can be in the top 4 discussion. You shouldn't.
Okay, I am coming around to the panel in a minute. Be ready, Nick. You're 1, 2, 3. So you've got a little bit longer to think. Jarvis, as you've kicked it off with a little curveball of Aston Villa, we're going to squeeze Aston Villa and possibly Newcastle and Brighton. The way this is going, we've got Newcastle, Brighton, and Villa in the top 3. So only one of us is going to get that 4th position. Who's it going to be? So, so Mick said, how can you put Liverpool in the top 4? They've recruited nothing. Midfield's in trouble. So no way. I think they've rebuilt that midfield with Szoboszlai and kid from Brighton, McAllister.
2 incomings and 7 outgoings, though. That's not reinforcing.
Is that strengthening your team? That's what United's done. United brought in Højlund, Mount, Onana, Evans. So really, we've brought 3 players in. We've let Alanga, Telles,
Bailly,
Fred, Maguire, De Gea. So what you're saying there is we've made a big mistake.
No, but we've brought more quality though. We've brought more quality. This is Onana is a game changer to how he fits into our puzzle. It's like everybody's impact. You gotta judge how they're gonna do with the team, and it's not always like you can compare this player. It's very, very, very different with each circumstance. I think.
Yeah, I agree, Pappi. The thing is, we had 7 players on the bench last season too when we were struggling. But now we have 7 players with quality, or at least 4 or 5 of them with quality. So that's the key, quality players. And now we have more quality players, and I think we will be more able to compete.
Totally.
Okay, so going back to the chat room, we've got where's he gone? Sorry, click show. I'm hitting the button. There we go. David saying City, Arsenal, United, Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea are still finding the feet with a new squad from last season, new sign, new manager, etc. Yeah, I mean, I was joking about Chelsea. I don't think, you know, obviously they've had that big hit as well because the new signing and Nkunku is now out for a good part of the season. I don't know. And you know, I'm not laughing at that at all. At the end of the day, you don't want to see anybody injured. At the end of the day, still human beings, and it must be heartbreaking. You know, hope he gets well soon. But at the end of the day, I do think that Chelsea are going to struggle. I think they just spent through all the money, PSG style, at players who they heard other people were after, and just tried to throw them into a mix and didn't actually see how they would work together. Obviously, Enzo Fernandez, 115 million. I'm not sure he was ever worth that. I think we were looking at him for about 60 or 70 at the time. And we just said, no way, we're not getting involved with that. Obviously, the loan signing, the 𝑴𝒊𝒄𝒌 𝹄𝒂𝒏𝒅𝒊𝒔𝒉 up front didn't really work out for them either. Yeah, that was another one. Mick Ruby saying Villa in fourth. Mick, if you want, you can give us your top four as well. We'll keep our eye out for that for you. Jonathan Ball says, I see Villa and Brighton above Spurs. Yeah, I think Spurs are really going to struggle this season. I think this is going to be, you know, obviously with Kane going, there's still time for them to buy in the window. There's still plenty there'll be money to be thrown about. You never know. Levy hasn't. I think I'm right in saying Levy hasn't. He's only brought one player in. Is that right? Has he brought a new striker in? Is that right? I don't think that was to replace Kane. So will he take? He was complaining as well about
Madison.
Madison, yes, that's right. Yeah,
yeah.
Good shout. Yeah, it was about 30 million, something like that, was it, for Madison? So yeah, that will be a really good signing for them. And obviously not enough to convince Kane to stay. But at the end of the day, you know, is Daniel Levy? Because did I read it today that he was complaining about FFP and the money, and they were struggling financially last season and stuff? Or was that Newcastle? I was reading about, maybe Newcastle, I'm not sure. Someone's been complaining about money today, spending too much. But will Daniel Levy invest that money straight back into another striker, or will he do what Man United did with the original Ronaldo money and hide it somewhere so that you never see it again?
They have. They can't rely on Richarlison now. Like,
but maybe.
You know, if you rely on Richarlison, Burnley is going to finish above you. Like, people are not ready for Company and Burnley. They're going to, you know, take the Premier League by storm. But like, you know, if Ange and Daniel Levy like only end up with Kulusevski and Richarlison, I think they're too thin. And that, you know, they have like the cup competitions as well. It's a very thin squad. It's very, very thin.
Do you know what? It's a good shout though. I had forgot about Richarlison, and you sometimes see when a star player leaves.
Sorry.
What you said? No.
Sorry, can I just say Fabrizio Romano's just tweeted that Harry Kane has been given permission to travel to complete medical tests ahead of Bayern move.
Breaking news, there you go. So he's been given permission to go to Bayern. It looks like it's all over. So he's obviously made the decision. And I don't think Bayern, such a big club, would make a big statement of such a money to be turned down. I think that would be quite embarrassing for that, really. Especially if nobody else has been linked. Nobody really saw Daniel Levy selling him to anybody in the Premier League. As much as United fans hoped it, and we saw that. I think we had the best chance of getting him. At the end of the day, disappointed that we've not got him when the chance was there. But let's ask the question: was the chance ever there? Was Daniel Levy? So many of us have said, so many of us fans have said on social media, in podcasts like this, we don't want to mess with Levy because he's just a waste of time. He wastes our time. He wastes everybody else's time. And what we've done in that time that all this Kane stuff's been going on, we've bought in 3 of our first choices. So I actually think that we made the right decision. And if that was if we could have had Kane instead of those three, I'd have took these three because we needed to build the squad and not just get a goal scorer. So yeah, at the end of the day, it wasn't meant to be. Move on. Good luck at Bayern. He will get his trophy. He'll end up something for his cabinet instead of just a couple of photos and season albums and stuff like that. So yeah, good luck to it. Good luck,
Bill,
Kane.
you were trying to say something about when one big player leaves, another one.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. So I was just saying that I think that when sometimes you see, we saw it with Ronaldo, and I say that as once he left, Rashford flourished, not because he was so much better, but because he was given the freedom and people weren't trying to play to his strengths. Because we saw United trying to lump the ball up to Ronaldo all the time, and every time somebody had the ball, get it to Ronaldo, get it to Ronaldo, get it to Ronaldo. Well, are Spurs doing that with Kane? You know, are we seeing a lot of that? And are they going to play differently? Because I mean, Richarlison, you don't get to play for Brazil for no reason. And I know we're saying the same about Fred, and you can do comparisons and stuff like that. But a striker up front who's playing, you know, all right, playing with Neymar and stuff, and he's not playing with Neymar at Spurs, but he is up for sale, so you don't know what Levy might do with that money. Richarlison, he can score a goal, and he can find the back of the net, and he did really well for Everton. And let's not forget, as much as we're laughing, United were heavily linked with Richarlison for a while, and fans were keen on the move, but just not for the money that was being quoted. So maybe, you know, we're laughing, but maybe actually this might be the making of Richarlison and the shackles being released again and going, okay, what can you do as a team with those of you who are left now? That could be something. That could be the surprise of the season. Neil's saying Newcastle 5th, Chelsea 6th, Tottenham 7th, Villa 8th, Brighton 9th. Okay. John Johnson talking about the Liverpool signing, talking about before. They've signed 2 quality midfielders in Alex McAllister and Dominic Szoboszlai. At the end of the day, I don't think Liverpool's going to have the poor season that everyone's expecting them to be. Kane was going to be a cheat code for United. Now we just have to work for it. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good shout. I like that little phrase. Lee Parker, United trying to hijack the deal, knowing the selling price. Sorry, Darren, I think that might be a bit too late from what we're hearing. I don't even heard it, but Nick just said that Romano said he's been given permission to go and do his medical. So, yeah, it looks like it's pretty much done. We have seen deals hijacked later than this. We all know about Jean-Obi Mikel, who actually wore the United shirt, played a game, and still ended up at Chelsea. So it's not over until the season starts and the transfer window's closed. Who knows what goes on with those things? But I think we've talked about season expectations.
I just want to add when it comes to Liverpool, everybody thinks they're not good enough because they have just bought 2 players, and they have lost a couple of players, but they are getting older. So Klopp have seen this, and they're trying to sell out the older players. Like they lost Fabinho, Henderson, Milner, Firmino. All of them are in their 30s. So I think maybe Liverpool are building a new team, and they have extremely good attacking firepower with Nunes and Salah, obviously, but also Gakpo and what's his name?
Jota, Diaz.
Yeah, Diaz and Jota. They can score a lot of goals.
And they've been scoring in pre-season again, haven't they? So they've started to find the feet. So they will score goals. They have got, at the end of the day, they have got a good seat. Does anybody? I mean, we don't want to go on about Liverpool because it's a United show, but Trent Alexander-Arnold moving him out of right back into midfield. Everyone saw it. We saw it for England, and then eventually Klopp went, "Oh, it's not a bad idea. I'll try that." And he obviously started to play well forward, whipping those balls in, and he is good. So again, some players leaving, sometimes it helps your team. So my question to you guys: which Man United signing will have the biggest impact? So I want to just talk based on the signings that are confirmed so far. So who do you think will have the biggest impact this season for us? I asked the panel as well, asked the VAR panel. Then sorry, Mick's saying if Kane's gone, then we're going for Marcos Leonardo. Okay, interesting. Keep our eye on that one. Again, I don't know much about that player, unfortunately, so I couldn't personally comment myself. If anybody does, give us a shout. Let us know what you think's on that. Which Man United signing you think will have the biggest impact? I'll start with you this time, Nick. Go in the bottom, and I'll go reverse and up again. So, yeah. So you've obviously got you've got Onana, Højlund, Mount, and Johnny Evans.
I think it's going to be Onana for me. I think that for so long we've wanted that keeper that's going to command his box, not stay on the line, be a sweeper keeper. Not entirely sure I want him quite at the halfway line as a sweeper keeper, but I definitely enjoy watching Onana play. I think that the fact that he was commanding his box and he ran after Maguire and was screaming at him for whatever it was. The fact that he did that tells me that he's not afraid of challenging if he thinks that players should have done something else. For me, your goalkeeper is the last line of defence. It shouldn't even be getting to your goalkeeper. If your goalkeeper's had to touch that ball a lot, then your defence isn't doing much. But what I'm looking forward to seeing with Onana is him actually commanding that box. And I think that Martinez and Onana is just going to be a fantastic pairing for me. So I think he's going to have the biggest impact for us because he plays the way Ten Hag wanted De Gea to play, but De Gea just wasn't that kind of keeper. So I think that Onana coming in is giving Ten Hag that confidence and giving that back line the confidence as well. So for me, he's going to be our most impactful signing.
Okay, was it Pappi?
I love that you mentioned him shouting at Maguire, Nick, because I also remember like Onana, he doesn't care who you are as a player. He's such a he has like a very high demand for his teammates and for himself as well. And I saw this video of him shouting at Edin Dzeko, you know, the well-experienced Edin Dzeko, who's way older than him, and he's just like berating him like that. And it was even his teammate who had to be like, chill, Onana, chill, you know. So it's just that level of like, you know, that you're getting somebody who has a very, very strong mental ability and strength. He's got the capability to wear that shirt, to wear those gloves, and you know, the one thing when he said like he was asked, Onana, don't you feel scared every time when you're like doing that fake turning the striker when the striker is pressing you and then you fight, you know, doing that skill move? And he's like, no, I'm so focused because the San Siro and a lot of Italian stadiums are just always just on the edge of their seats every time he was doing all those risky moves. So I am excited by Onana. The thing that I'm, you know, I have to adjust my expectations for is that we will not have as many clean sheets. I think we will have we'll concede a lot of goals, but we'll also score a lot of goals because of the high attacking output that Onana is going to help the team have, you know. So I'm excited about him. He's also, I feel like, going to be our signing of the season.
Okay, what do you think, Jarvis?
Yeah, when it comes to players that will have the biggest impact, that was the original question. I would say, but we haven't signed him yet. But for me, I think it will be Amrabat, Sofian Amrabat from Fiorentina, if we get him. What I saw from him for Morocco in the World Cup, he has such a spirit. You know, the guy, he's everywhere. He works so hard. I can see him be the new cult hero at Old Trafford, and everybody will love him. He will be a new Roy Keane in a way. With the work rate never been seen, you know, and he gives 110% in everything he does. So I think he will be one big impact, and I am afraid that Mount will sit on the bench when Amrabat is fit.
Do you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
wow, that's a strong statement to end that statement on. Don't really know what to do with that. Right. So moving on. Yeah, caught me out with that one.
Yeah, but I really believe that. I think Amrabat is a better player, and when Ten Hag really sees him and see what he can do, and it's not only the work rate as I love with Amrabat, but his take-ons. He's really good with the ball. You know, he's not afraid to take the ball, turn around, and do something with it. It's not hot potato with him. He will be like a cross between Roy Keane and now we see Christian Eriksen who dictate the tempo, and we will see a lot of that from Amrabat. So I think it will be really important for Ten Hag, and when he's out or he's on suspension or anything, we will feel it, because I think he will be that good for us. I expect much from it.
This answer moves on to another question for a little bit later on, but we'll come back to that. So just want to sit with yourself for a minute, Jarvis. So obviously before, probably go back about maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, you were a big advocate for Højlund. Now that we've got him, I'm just surprised that you haven't kind of picked him for the one that you want to be, player of the biggest impact sort of thing. Just think that it's so. David Mean said Højlund could have an impact. He's got the pace and power. He's got the physicality needed in the Premier League. Yeah, we're seeing that. But obviously, the question we're asking is who will have the biggest impact. So you're saying that Højlund. What's your thoughts on him for this season then?
Yeah, he will transform our attack, but I don't think Højlund per se, specifically him, will be the best player. But the way he plays will do the other attackers better. He will create space for Bruno. He will create space for Anthony Dos Santos and for Rashford, because when he drops down on the right side, there will be plenty of space on the left side for Rashford to attack. Yeah. There will be plenty of space for Bruno to go in behind, and he will be able to link up with Anthony Dos Santos. So I think he will unlock our attack in a way. So that's what I'm looking forward to see.
Okay, good stuff. Lee Parker saying Højlund is going to be a big influence for us guys. So I guess we have 2 or 3 big impacts. Yeah, I think the point is what we're talking. We've made 3 signings of Højlund, Mount, Onana so far, and potentially Amrabat. And we're talking about 2 or 3 big impacts. So yeah, I mean, I agree with what Lee's saying. I think each one of them will have an impact in their own way. Jonathan Ball likes your sort of controversial approach to this evening's show, Jarvis. So we will point this out for you. You're welcome. Keep being controversial. It's keeping the show alive. Oh, fantastic. We'll be the most exciting team passing it around the back 4. Not quite sure whether that's sarcasm or it's positive. I'm hoping that we get past the back 4 and we make that progression into the attacking final third. But
I believe the people who are very nervous when they go to Old Trafford won't appreciate Onana, because they will sit on the edge like eggshells all the time for 90 minutes, because passing out from the goalkeeper, one mistake, it's a goal. So we will probably hear a lot of shouting in the beginning, shoot the ball, but after a while people will get used to Amrabat. It will take Onana. It will take a little bit of time, I think.
Jarvis, what scares me is what we talked about in the first segment of tonight's show, the first episode. Like having Dean Henderson sitting on the bench and the English media there, and Onana making maybe 2 or 3 mistakes. It's just going to be like a recipe for disaster that I do not want to even think about it more, but I have to share this nightmare with you guys that I'm envisioning, that, we might have Ten Hag being grilled. Why is Dean Henderson still on the bench? Is Onana, are you going to insist Onana, still plays sweeper keeper? It can get ridiculous with our club,
Yeah. I mean, my concern is, So there's 2 sides to the Onana thing, in my opinion. Absolutely, he is going to bring some fantastic attacking play to our team. And when you think that this guy we've signed was in the Champions League final, keeping City at bay for most of the game, with this style of play, and we've still brought him in. My concern is we have, as you've alluded to already, but what you saw in pre-season, I'm trying to think which was it. Was it Lens, wasn't it? RC Lens, however it's pronounced. They didn't even need to look up when they scored that first goal. They knew it was off his line. the minute there was a mistake, it's straight in their mind, and every manager will be saying to the players, look how far he comes out, just shoot. Don't be afraid to shoot because there's no one over there. Now, what you did see later in that game is that Onana still was playing well off his line, but deeper towards the edge of his box as opposed to towards the centre circle. And I think he was getting a little bit too carried away with how far out he was coming. And I think Ten Hag will try to find that sort of in-between space for him to play so he can still play out across the back, become the extra defender, allow Shaw and the likes of Wan-Bissaka or Dalot to get further upfield and still keep our sort of three centre-backs, if you like, sweeper keeper to a whole new level. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what we saw is lots of great passing as well from him. It wasn't just... what I really like about Onana is you see a lot of players when under pressure, when it's being played around the box and the defender's running in at them and the goalkeeper panics and kicks it out or wildly and it goes, what? He doesn't look under pressure. He just doesn't look under pressure. He looks so composed when he's on the ball, so comfortable with the ball at his feet. I know it's only going to take one mistake to sort of knock him back a little bit. But what I like about him is he's a big goalkeeper. He's got a lot of build to him. When you look at what De Gea's, one of De Gea's weaknesses, which was his build, because I think he was afraid. Everyone you say, oh, why is he always staying in his line? I think he was afraid to come out because he was going to get knocked off that ball. When he first joined the Premier League, you remember he was in for about the first 6 or 7 games, and then Sir Alex took him out and said, let's take him out of the limelight because he's getting knocked all over the pitch. After the first game, Premier League teams were all over him, crowding him in the box on corners, making sure he couldn't jump for it. Watford, Troy Deeney, those players, they were really getting at him and putting that pressure on. Whereas Onana, he's a big lad and he is not going to get knocked off that ball easily. He's a different style of player. We've not seen much of him yet. We've not seen him having to make many saves, which is a good thing. But we are seeing him. He made that sort of, was it for the cameras? Was it a good save? When you look at it again in slow motion, it did take a deflection, flipped up, and then it looked like it was a good save. So at the end of the day, he's shown he can get low quick, he can get high. So, but he can also get chipped. So yeah, the jury's out. But at the end of the day, I think he's not off to a bad start considering the position he's playing in.
I think that's the frustrating thing, though, Phil, about De Gea. Just going back to him as a keeper and being afraid. The modern game of football, you can't even go near the goalkeepers. You hit of the goalkeeper when they're trying to get that ball, knock it out, and the ref gives them the advantage. So I never understood why De Gea didn't commit himself to going in for the corner crosses, because for me, if a player knocks into the goalkeeper and the goalkeeper's got, and De Gea was tall, so he's able to reach up into the air and grab that ball. If he's got that ball and a player knocks into him, the likelihood is that the ref's going to give the advantage to De Gea. So I never really understood why he was so afraid, whether it was he didn't want to get injured. I mean, that's a different story, isn't it? But to not have the confidence to think, well, actually, this is my box and I have the advantage in this box. So if I've got the ball and it gets knocked out of my hands from a player jumping up to head it or whatever, I'm going to get the advantage. So that was always the frustrating thing for me. It's almost like he didn't understand that was what the play was like. That's the modern game of football. You can't even breathe on goalkeepers. So that was what was frustrating for me about De Gea, if I'm being completely honest. And that's what I'm looking forward to about Onana. I think that he's not going to be afraid to get knocked, and I think I don't know, his football intelligence seems a lot better for me. Yeah. So whilst I'm concerned a little bit because he gives me Barthez vibes, and Jarvis at Old Trafford watching Barthez, people couldn't breathe when Barthez was going out to try and get those balls because your heart was literally in your mouth. The stadium would go completely quiet because it's like, oh, what's going to happen now? So I understand that, but I think it'll only take a while, really, for fans to get used to his style of play. And that's why I like the Premier League more than the knockout competitions, because I think you've got that time you know, you can make one mistake and it's not over. You make one mistake in the Champions League or an FA Cup or, you know, the Carabao Cup or whatever, and potentially that's your gameplay over. You know, your game's over and you're out. So that's why I prefer the Premier League, because you're allowed that little bit more leeway, and you making mistakes isn't the end of the world. It's a learning curve, but you don't necessarily get that opportunity in knockout competitions.
I think that's what, you know, Lee's referring to in the VAR, and we're saying, you know, those goals came from big mistakes in the defence. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, we have got a defence who will make mistakes at times. We know that, you know, hopefully with Martinez and Varane, Shaw and Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, then we'll be making a lot less mistakes, sort of thing. But those mistakes were crucial, and not only was it lobbed, it was like through. It was because we were playing so high, we were just caught out. There was just no coming back off it. So at the end of the day, you know, do we believe in the defence enough to play in that way? It looks like Ten Hag is, if he's happy to go with that style of keeper. Stephanie Griffiths is saying that Alisson created lots of goals for Salah with his long passing, and Anna can do the same. Absolutely, as long as we've got someone who can get on the end of those, that's exactly what we're after. Just someone who can finish the ball. We're getting into scoring positions. We're just not taking them. Right. I'm just aware that because of our little second episode that we've moved into, that we're actually losing track of time, and we did start the show at 10 o'clock, and it is approaching midnight in the UK. And we've still got 42 of you live with us, but I'm not sure how many of us will be alive if we carry on for much longer. So I'm just going to quickly move on. We've kind of talked about expected player of the season and stuff like that as we've moved on. One of the things that we just wanted to touch upon before we end this show is the Wolves preview. We want to ask, you know, and obviously the starting 11. We did have it in the first show, but unfortunately we never got to show it, and we're struggling to get it live at the moment. But I think Jarvis is working on getting it available.
Yeah.
Are you able to get it back up for us? Yeah. So Jarvis is going to try and get it. So Jarvis has put his. Thank you for bringing that. That's fantastic. Jarvis has got his predicted starting 11 on it. So I ask you guys in the VR room and in the panel, what do you think of? Would you make any changes? I mean, as I say, I'm not going to make this long section because of the fact of the time that we've been talking for everything. So Onana left, you know, in goals, absolutely. Shaw, Martinez, Varane. So this is
I can just speak what I thought, because this is my lineup, and you know, it's basically the other 10 gives itself. The only question is Dalot versus Aram Wan-Bissaka, but I try to put up the team I think Ten Hag will put out, and this is Diogo Dalot because he started on the game Saturday and not in the game in Ireland on Sunday. So for me, I think Dalot is the one that Ten Hag wants to play on the right back as first choice, and he will stick with that. He will give him a couple of chances at least before he put in Wan-Bissaka in my mind.
On the right back position, Nick, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I agree with Jarvis if you're thinking about what Ten Hag will play. Personally, I'd prefer Wan-Bissaka. I think that he developed so well last season. I'm not quite sure why Ten Hag's favouring Dalot all of a sudden. But again, I agree that Ten Hag will probably go with Dalot, but my choice would be Wan-Bissaka.
Pappi, what do you think for the right back?
So I mean, just because it's Wolves, and I mean it's going to be a very tight game, I sort of agree with what Nick is saying, that normally, obviously, Wan-Bissaka, you'd want to lock down a very dangerous winger that like the opposition has, but you know, Dalot, he's too shaky, and this game is going to be very tight margins. So I'd go with Wan-Bissaka over Dalot.
Okay. Would any of you guys make any changes to the starting 11 from what Jarvis has said, apart from the right back? Steph says it has to be Wan-Bissaka as well.
Yeah, I have to ask you, Phil, because I see your boy is missing here, Sancho.
Yeah. Do you know what? I am kind of with that, and part of me is saying start him over Rashford. Just while not into the season, but at least while Rashford gets up to speed, because to me he isn't, and Sancho was the one who was looking the sharpest. So it is a little question in my mind on that. And I know that I felt that I know what you're saying about who went to Dublin as well. But at the end of the day, I didn't know if that was because he was happy that he'd seen enough of some of those players. You know, like a Sancho, he's played most of pre-season. He was looking sharp. He was making those runs, and everyone was saying good things about him. So potentially he'd seen enough of him. And for me, what he'd seen of Rashford was not enough. Yeah, he got his goal. It was good to see a typical sort of Rashford goal. It was a deflection. But yeah, it's good. It's good that we're having this conversation, and we're struggling to, you know, we've had so many seasons where it's easy to pick the first 11, and now there is just that little bit of doubt. So just to add a little curveball, let's say 5 games into the season, who's your starting 11 then? What changes do you make? I'm talking Højlund will be in, potentially Amrabat. So what changes do you make then? Quickly, and then we'll call in it. We'll bring the show towards a close after we've got your score predictions.
Yeah, for me, when it comes to like, let's say 5 games, when you play against the better teams, we probably see Wan-Bissaka, of course, but I think we also will see Bruno on the right, and we play with, for example, Mount and Amrabat when he comes in. So we have a more defensive structure in a way. So we're more resilient against the better teams. I think Ten Hag will play with that lineup in a way. And we, of course, when Højlund comes in, we will see Rashford on the left, and let's see what Garnacho can do, if he can perform on a consistent level, because he's young, and we will see master classes, and we will see him not be invisible in games. So I don't know with the young kids, but at least we have some depth in the squad.
What do you think, Nick? Obviously Højlund being available, potentially Amrabat. Do you think Garnacho will be moved out? Do you think Højlund will be moved out for Højlund to come in?
I'd like to think not for Garnacho, because I think that he's got so much promise, and he's shown that he's not scared. I think for me, I'd like to see Pellistri in the squad more. Yeah. I mean, as a creative player, I kind of want him instead of Anthony. For me, I know we've paid a lot of money for Anthony, but for me, Pellistri's he fits into the style a little bit more. He seems he's not afraid to go forward. He doesn't necessarily get himself in tight spots like Anthony does. He's creative. It's like he doesn't even think when he's got the ball. He's in those spaces. He's not even thought about his next shot. It just comes naturally to him, if that makes sense. He doesn't have to think too much about it. Whereas Anthony, really, I feel he runs so far along the pitch that then he thinks, shit, what do I do with the ball now? Oh, I need to come back, and I need to get on my left foot. Whereas Pellistri just he does all that just naturally for me. So I'd like to see him more in the team, and I don't want to see Garnacho out. I think there's something about what Jarvis said about Rashford and Fernandes perhaps being a little bit worn out from last season, and thinking about the rotation of the squad. I'd like to see some of the youth players get, I've been impressed with them, even the likes of Fernandes and was it Dango? I really liked those players in pre-season. So I'd like to see some of those be used a little bit more, if I'm being honest, especially against, not necessarily against the bigger clubs, but definitely against some of the lower league clubs. I'd like to see them get some game time.
Yeah, David Mean was agreeing
want to
with you.
shoot in when it comes to Garnacho and Pellistri. I think they both are too offensive in a way. So that's Ten Hag's dilemma. He can't play them both at the same time. So when you have Anthony, he's contributing much more defensively. So when you have Garnacho on one side and Anthony, that gives more balance in a way. Yeah.
But that's the fact that we've got that depth of squad now, isn't it? That we can interchange a little bit and pick the players that suit the best and kind of balance out the team, which we've not had for so long.
I think my only concern, I mean, I really like what we're seeing for Pellistri. Everyone gets excited because he brings so much to the attack. But what we do see with Anthony, to be fair, is he is good at coming back and supporting the defence. And I don't think we see that much of that with Pellistri at the moment. So I think that's why he's not going to be much of a starter and more of an impact player from the bench. If we're either got a good lead and we want to get more, or if we're really pushing for a goal and Anthony's looking tired and it looked like he's out of ideas, because we know at the moment is, when he first joined, he was always trying to go straight down to the wing and cut it back, and now it's like that's not happening. He wasn't good on the 1-to-1 because everyone knew what he was going to do. They played him onto his weak foot. He went out for a corner or a throw in, or they just took it off him. But then as the season got towards the end, we did see him start coming in more into the middle, cutting in across the box and then taking a shot or playing a pass across. He wasn't trying to score all the time, which made big improvements to his game. So I think Pellistri will be worked into the team. Milos Mitic, I'm going to try my best to work out what this is. Forgive me, Milos. Onana, Varane, Martinez, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro, Mount, Bruno, Garnacho, Rashford, and Sancho. Oh yes, thank you. Woo! So there you go. Well done, Milos. It was worth to get my Sancho in there. Fantastic, Sancho.
You forget to say 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒔𝒕. You always say 𝒂𝒏𝒊����𝒕 to Milos. At least
who do what?
Yes, big up.
Big. Yep. I'll leave you to do that one. Well done. Donny van der Beek's gone. It's a shame because I think he's a pretty good pre-season as well. He was looking like he was starting to find his feet again, but unfortunately he does play in a very similar position to Bruno, and he's not going to get his position, especially now that he's captain. Nielsen, Onana, Shaw, Martinez, Varane, Bruno, Casemiro, Mount, Rashford, Anthony, Garnacho, and Sancho. Who's you took out? Who's missing? Can't see who's missing from that. Yeah, sorry, I'm losing that. Do you think Garnacho's eventual position will be striker? That's a question from Jonathan Ball. I'm not sure. I think his strength at the moment is certainly cutting in from the wing, making those tricky runs, and putting fear into the players and putting he can cut inside the box and whip it in, so he's still getting his shot off, which is similar to obviously what Rashford does in his style of play as well. So just a couple of things quickly. So Lee Parker said we had no feed last year. The outlet at Hoyland's going to be refreshing for the whole team. Absolutely. Get your score predictions in, guys. We're going to close the show very soon. We have ran over. No surprise there. We're always doing that. Ten Hag's last summer and this summer with a checkbook in hand. Forget January window. All players are impacting the team. Yeah, absolutely, Darren. Everything. That's one thing we have seen from Ten Hag. Every player he's bought in, we've been made up with it. You said about the goals. Sorry. So quick question from Mick. I'll just throw it in there, seeing as he's the boss. Panel, what's your thoughts on Liverpool reports to hijack Caicedo? I mean, to me, at the end of the day, if Caicedo's got any aspirations, he's going to go for a team who's in the top four, who's got Champions League, something like that, or stick with Brighton, who's going places. And yeah, I'm not sure. We've already mentioned they've already bought two midfielders. They are quite strong in midfield in terms of numbers. And is he going to get game time? So that's my first thought on it. Anybody else want to add anything to that? I'm just going to start getting some score predictions in before we close the show. What's your thoughts on Caicedo, and where do you think whether he'd be good at Liverpool or somewhere else?
Yeah, Pappi.
I mean, it's a question on Brighton, really. It's like they're rumored to also get Kudus in there, and Kudus is kind of a different player than compared to Caicedo. They're different profile players, and it's not like a replacement type thing. So if Brighton have ambitions of really doing well in Europe and in the Premier League again, they should keep both of those players and really, you know, surprise the Premier League, because they are capable of doing that. They have a very amazing coach, and they play attractive football. and Caicedo is such a very difficult player to replace. It's so funny with Brighton, because you know, at one point we're like, oh, it'll be hard to replace Bissouma, and then next thing Caicedo pops into the picture, and now I'm saying it'll be hard to replace me, you know. But I still feel like, you know, they need to focus on themselves internally and ask themselves what are their ambitions as a club, and they can elevate to the next level if they get Kudus and as well as keep Caicedo.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to, have your score predictions ready? I'm just going to quickly read through some from the panel. Stephanie's said 3-1 United. Anthony, Mount and Rashid. Interesting. It'd be good to see Mount get a goal or an assist or something, just to take that pressure away, wait for the season to start, and then make the difference, because he's certainly getting in those positions, we've said already. Darren Scott said 3-1 United, statement made. Red J said 3-1. Jonathan Ball said 2-0. Stephanie Griffiths has said 3-1 United. Anthony, Mount debut goal, and Rashi usual goal versus Wolves. David Meme said Sancho a decent pre-season. Hope he brings the form into next season. Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope that does happen, because he needs a little bit of confidence about himself. Lucky Singh, welcome. Yeah, good evening. Not seeing you in the panel just yet. I hope we get Amrabat and Tarami striker to United. Interesting, no one's mentioned that. I did read he was going somewhere else, but I can't remember where that was. So where are we up to? So Lee Parker 6-0 United on Monday Night Football. Yeah, that'd be a great start to the season. We'd take that all day. Neil Driscoll 2-0 United. Darren Scott 3-1 United. I think that's Mick with his usual 3-0 smash Wolves. So yeah, absolutely. Lucky Singh said 3-0. Lots of us are believing that we're going to hit the ground running. So I'll ask the panel. Spurs interested in Tamari? Yeah, Taremi, isn't it? Yeah, that's what confused me. So I'll ask you your score predictions before we finish, because it is very late. Thank you for everybody who stuck with us. Whoever gets Caicedo will be a game changer. Yeah, we agree with that. You know, he's a great player. There's some big advocates for him to join any team. He'll do well. He'll stay. If he stays at Brighton, he'll do well. If he goes to Liverpool, Chelsea, United, wherever he went, he'd be a good impact player. He'd make a big difference. Fantastic. And don't forget, we were heavily linked with him before he went to Brighton for about something like 10-30 million, something like that. And we just never went ahead with it in the end. David saying 4-0 United, not giving Wolves any hope for Monday's game. They've made a lot of transfers out and not as many in. So Jimenez, Neves, Connor Cody, Nathan Collins, big players who you would normally think would potentially make the difference. They've all left, and they've brought Matheus Cunha in, Boubacar Traore, Matt Doherty. So yeah, I think it does feel at the moment, you know, they've sat the manager. They haven't really signed many other players, and obviously, I don't think they sat the manager. I think the manager walked out, didn't he, because he wasn't getting any money, and they were just selling players. So at the end of the day, I do think that Wolves are going to just could be one for the bottom three this season. I think they might struggle with the losses that's gone, and if they don't make some recruitments, I mean, obviously Gary O'Neill's the new manager. He's just been replaced, just been announced. I think it was yesterday, something like that. A good manager, but has he got enough time to do anything now before the season starts? Certainly not before Monday. He'll be telling them to put up a fight, but I think if United come out the traps and get an early goal, I think it'll be game over quite quick on that one, hopefully. So yeah, quickly go around the panel. Start with yourself, Jarvis. What's your score prediction for the game?
Yeah, I see a lot of optimism in the chat. Everybody thinks we will win 3 or 4-0. I'm more pessimistic because I always learned that that you play how you train, and our training matches haven't been great. We haven't scored many goals. We have struggled when it comes to the last third and the end product. So I think we will continue in that lane this time, and maybe we will win. I hope we win, but only 2-1.
2-1, okay. Pappi?
I'm gonna go with the fact that Wolves is a very difficult team to get a more than 2-goal margins with. Either way, they're just, even since the days of Bruno Lage. So it's just one of those things where Man United has to face new manager bounce again, and I think it's gonna be a 1-0. Very, very, very tight 1-0 game to Man United.
Wow. Okay. Nick?
I'm quite pessimistic of this game, I have to say. The new manager bounce for me.
Who's invited you three? We've gone 3-0, 2-0.
Well,
Nick, what are you going to give us?
I'm going for a 1-1 draw. And
it's getting worse.
Some of that is around, Wolves' previous formations that switched from a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1 to a 3-1-6. One of them in the double pivot would drop into the back line, create more, give themselves more time to create more space for a forward pass. So for me, I think it's going to be a really, really difficult game, and it's opening season game as well, and we've got the PTSD from the opening season games last season, so I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw, unfortunately.
Right, well, I'm going to end the show by making my prediction. My prediction is we're going to be at Old Trafford, the opening game of the season. Ten Hag, new signings, the place will be rocking, and we're going to knock Wolves off the feet. 3-0. You've heard it here first.
Yeah. Get in there.
Love it.
Very
On
good.
that note, I'm going to say thank you to everybody. It's been a fantastic show.
I have just one more thing before we go.
Jarvis, over to you.
Yeah, we are this year having a FPL league, and for people who want to join that league, here's the league code: PPPJU0. So go to the FPL, and then you can compete against me, Mick. I hope that you will be there.
I'll be in there.
And I will do a part like 10 minutes every Monday on Jarvis Corner, and we will go through the table and see the teams, and we will laugh at me who are in the last place and Phil who is in the first place, and we'll go through the teams and analyze and talk about that for 10 minutes time every Monday. So everybody should join the league.
Right, absolutely, yeah. Well, obviously that will be in the comments. We'll get it in there as well. It'll be on the end of the show if anybody's lost that code already. We'll share that. Keep your eye out for it. And yeah, so thank you everybody. Just very quickly, Jarvis. Everybody knows you by now, but where can they catch you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Bowley77. That's where I usually are at during work time.
And over to you, Pappi.
You can catch me here at Mufc Realist TV. Also, my other channel is Football Power Hour. So yeah, let's connect.
Yeah, give it a like, give it a follow, and give it a share. Over to you, Manu Nick. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Manu Nick.
Twitter doesn't exist. Start again. Try again.
And you can also follow She Devils United as well, which is where I stream quite a bit as well. So yeah. Ladies football channel.
She's streaming.
I'm streaming. I'm not steaming and I'm not stripping. I'm streaming.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. You catch me on at Phil Standish. Very easy to find me on X. It's been a fantastic show. Thank you for everybody who stayed with us through and joined back for the second show. Jarvis, again.
Message from the boss. Don't forget the interview with Alfredo
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we mentioned it in the first show before we got cut off into the second show. Alfredo Padula, massive coup for the show. We're absolutely fantastic. Made up that he's willing to join us live. Catch that 3 o'clock UK time tomorrow. Plenty of discussions ongoing with Mick and Padula, discussing the likes of Amrabat, possibly discussing the Kane deal, what's happened with that sort of thing, and amongst many others. So make sure if you get the chance, watch it live. If not, watch it afterwards. It's got to be absolute fantastic show. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure. See you on the other side. Good night.
Good night.
That's all, folks.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.
Peace, guys.